Hey everyone, Gill Gross here post-match. Carlos Alcaraz versus Jannik Sinner, Indian Wells 2023 semifinal. If you're not here for spoilers, click off the video in 3, 2, 1. Alcaraz wins his second straight over Sinner. Compared to the last time they played, U.S. Open quarterfinals, Monday match analysis, match of the year. Less drama this time. Alcaraz wins in straights, 7-6, 6-3 in a match that brought some interesting twists. Some of them I didn't expect. I don't have that many big picture things to talk about, so I want to jump right into the match analysis. I had an observation in this match that I felt was important for the outcome. Maybe not the most important part, but I think you'll find it to be the most interesting part. So I'm gonna lead with it. Jannik Sinner drop shot retrieval. We know that Alcaraz is going to hit a lot of drop shots in a match. We know that oftentimes he's going to hit drop shots in big moments. And Sinner got to most of them. Alcaraz missed a couple of them early, started making them more, executing them better. But Sinner holds the baseline pretty well. Although he's not the fastest player on tour, he's certainly not the slowest, and he was there on a regular basis. I'm talking about drop shots and drop volleys, either one here. But once Jannik got there, he very, very often didn't do enough, and he was too predictable. And another interesting wrinkle of this is, if you watched my analysis of Medvedev Tiafoe, Tiafoe's another guy who drops shots all the time, and even more so, he's hitting drop volleys all the time. And I was so impressed with Medvedev's drop shot retrieval. I talked about it at the end of my last post-match video. Sinner, I had the opposite impression. I wasn't impressed. I felt he allowed Alcaraz to do what he does best, which is follow up the drop shots with blistering forehand passing shots, or in many cases, lobs. He hit an epic forehand lob to go up 3-love in the second set, holding serve. He hit also a very important lob volley winner on set point in the first to save set point. Sinner had set point, and Alcaraz off of a drop shot followed it in, and Sinner, when he got to the drop shot, he sliced it deep. Always deep down the line. Now, most of Alcaraz's drop shots are going to be into Jannik Sinner's backhand. When Alcaraz has a backhand drop shot, he likes to go down the line. Not every time, but usually down the line with the backhand. And on the forehand, from the middle of the court, he actually likes to kind of come around the outside of the ball and hit it almost inside out on the forehand drop shot, and kind of puts the follow through kind of in front of his face, and kind of carves the inside out forehand drop shot. So Sinner is usually coming up on his backhand and going to the slice, in my opinion, too easily. There were some occasions where I felt that Sinner probably could have hustled up to there, kept his left hand on the racket, kept the drive grip, and hit topspin on the drop shot retrieval. But every time he went to the slice, and every time he seemed to just go deep down the line. And Alcaraz was onto it, whether he let it bounce or approached behind the drop shot and covered the line and then hit a lob bump volley on the next ball. That play continued to work. So I feel like Sinner needs to be more crafty on his drop shot retrieval. You have to mix it up. Short angles sometimes. Deep cross is actually usually a tough one. Redrop down the line is a really good one, especially because you're in position to cover the next ball. You're at the net. And try to drive more. Felt that was really key. So we're going to see Medvedev Alcaraz in the final. Alcaraz is going to hit a lot of drop shots once again. One thing to keep your eye on is Medvedev will do everything in his ability to keep his topspin grip and drive the ball off of Alcaraz's drop shot instead of slicing the ball. I would have liked to see that from Sinner. Drop shot retrieval. All right. While I found that interesting, the most important part of this match was not that. It's probably the serve. I have said this before. I think Sinner is the taller player. He's the slower player. So in this particular head-to-head, he really kind of needs to be the better serving player, the bigger serving player. And coming into this match, his average first serve speed, much higher than Carlos Alcaraz. Alcaraz, I think, was averaging 114, and Sinner was averaging 121. I actually kind of wish I didn't say that because I'm going off of memory. They showed the stat at the start of the first set, and I hope I got that correct. But I know that Sinner was averaging quite a bit faster, and he needs to get more out of his first serve. He needs to outserve Alcaraz as the taller and slower player who might not be able to really dominate from the baseline, but you would hope could have an advantage from his perspective, at least hope, on the serve. Well, that did not happen today. Under any metric, he really did not outserve Alcaraz in this match. You look at the first serves in, that's the number that really stood out. Sinner struggling immensely. 50% first serves in for the match. In a two-set match, it's pretty bad. It happens maybe for one set, but for that to happen for two sets is pretty disappointing on Jannik Sinner's end of the stick. Alcaraz, 72% first serves in, plus he upped his first serve average for the tournament, and he was at 119 miles per hour on average. He hit more aces than Jannik Sinner, 5-4, but a much more telling stat and a better stat, really, is the unreturned serves percentage, where Alcaraz also got the better of Jannik Sinner. 41% first serves unreturned for Alcaraz, 33% unreturned for Sinner. So Alcaraz, off of the first serve, was better by every statistic other than first serve points won, which Sinner actually did edge out Alcaraz in. But it didn't really matter because Alcaraz made way more first serves than Sinner. There are a couple of key moments where I felt that Alcaraz's first serve bailed him out in big spots. In the second set, Sinner's best opportunity to break serve was at 4-2. Alcaraz was 15-30 down, and he hit 3 consecutive unreturned serves. In the first set, I felt that if Sinner just made more returns, it was Jannik's set to win. I really think he would have won the first set if he made more returns in play because Alcaraz was very erratic in this opening set, making far too many unforced errors, not getting a feel for his forehand, very inaccurate on the forehand, a lot of unforced errors there, but all the cheap points that Alcaraz was getting with his serve put a Band-Aid on the consistency issues. Look, that number, I know that I was focusing on Alcaraz getting more unreturned first serves than Sinner, 41% to 33%, but let me dissect those numbers just a little bit more, or give an opinion on those numbers, go a little bit further by saying, I think Sinner, 33% unreturned, is about where I think he should be. That's a pretty good number for Sinner, and I think also a decent number for Alcaraz. Nothing strikes me as abnormal about that number, 33% unreturned on a slow hard court for Sinner. By the way, the temperatures were dropping as well here, so it was a little bit slower than the court that Medvedev and Tiafoe had played on earlier. But 41% first serves unreturned for Alcaraz, that is high. It is very difficult to say, was that better than usual serving for Alcaraz or worse than usual returning for Sinner? Always hard to say. I think that Alcaraz was putting quite a bit of heat on the serve. I did like the pace. But all in all, I also think that Sinner could have made many more returns. I charted a lot of service winners that I marked down as returnable for Sinner. So, a little bit of both. Now, both players struggled to win points on their second serve. But of course, it hurt Sinner way more because he was only making 50% of his first serves. I do think that there was another technical issue for Sinner that really was just less technical issue and more something that Alcaraz did really well, was hitting big second serve returns into Sinner's backhand. And Sinner did look a little bit rushed on the first ball backhand. And I think that's something that Alcaraz has pinpointed because he did it really well at the U.S. Open. I was at the Alcaraz Sinner match for the U.S. Open, so I wasn't able to, because I was working and traveling, I was not able to make a post-match video for that Sinner Alcaraz match at the U.S. Open, but my prevailing takeaway was that if Sinner hit his second serve better, he would have won that match. And the biggest thing that got Sinner in trouble in that match was double faults and Alcaraz attacking Sinner's second serve with aggressive returns into the backhand corner that was setting Alcaraz up to take control of his second serve return points. I thought there was a little bit more of that in this match as well. First of all, of course, Sinner hitting 2 double faults at 2-all in the first set, which made up the first break of serve. Also hitting another double fault in the second set when his serve got broken, but that was earlier on. But certainly, again, getting rushed on the first ball backhand, and the number ends up being, the number isn't awful for Sinner. Sinner won 47% of his second serve return points, but I do think that he was playing fairly well in rally, and I think playing better in rally in the first set, so I think that number could have been even higher. Something that has continued to be a bit of an issue for Sinner in this head-to-head is protecting his second serve. I would like to see him hit it a little bit bigger, and I would like to see him hit it into the body like he was at Wimbledon instead of into the Alcaraz backhand. But look, it is tough. Carlos is quick and he's aggressive, and it's tough. But I do think Sinner's getting hurt off of his second serve. Lastly, I want to talk about the first set tiebreak. Shout out to Juan Carlos Ferrero, because before the first set tiebreak, and I don't think Alcaraz played a great level in this first set. Again, I feel like his serve kind of bailed him out. Ferrero told Alcaraz to calm down, and he told him to work the point. Told him to play the point more, work the point more, because Alcaraz was playing with too much emotion, too much energy, and wasn't being consistent. So I thought JCF gave Carlitos some great instruction before the first set tiebreak. And sure enough, Alcaraz settled down, made some balls. It was still aggressive, but it seemed to be more controlled from Alcaraz. The 2 key points that Carlitos won in the tiebreak came with his defense. At 3-all, this one was a little bit lucky, but it really looked like Sinner was going to get the mini break in the tiebreak. Really looked like that. Sinner played a great point. He hit a great forehand down the line approach. Alcaraz hit an open stance backhand pass that nicked the top of the tape. Sinner had to kind of react and hit a reflex kind of double-handed volley, which was actually a pretty good one. But Alcaraz also was very quick to react off of that deep volley that kind of came right at him, and he hit a very solid backhand cross-court passing shot winner. So that was the first, I think, inflection point. And then the second inflection point was at 4-5 Sinner serving, where Sinner was in complete in charge of the point, had a high forehand from his backhand corner runaround and cranked it inside out with every ounce of power that he could muster. And he made it. Huge pace. Alcaraz hit backhand slice defense very deep in the court. Sinner thought about coming forward, didn't, and then was kind of caught off guard by the depth of Alcaraz's slice D. And Sinner was retreating, didn't really get his feet in the right spot, and off his heels on the next forehand, he missed the next forehand. Sinner probably should have been in. Probably should have been in at net. But nonetheless, it was incredible defense from Alcaraz. He wouldn't have gotten the ball back. So, look, even though there was some net cord luck at 3-all, that's 2 major points in the first set tiebreak that really swung it, with Alcaraz winning from defensive positions. And by the way, at 4-all, just to hammer that last point home, Alcaraz with a big return into the backhand off of the second serve return into the backhand. Sinner, first ball, unforced error. Just rushed on that first ball backhand when Alcaraz attacks him with speed. So he takes it early, he hits it hard, not a lot of time. Sinner can struggle on that first ball backhand behind his second serve. So that also played a role at the end of the first set tiebreak. That is all I got. Looking forward to the Medvedev Alcaraz final. Should be unbelievable. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.